Hello and welcome. Today is that of the completion of the ninth day of March 2019. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. I'm just going over a few thoughts that I have been having. And one is I thought, I used to do these different books before on coins, and every time I think about it, it's like, man, it's really, if anything, I'd want to just do a better instructional thing. The only problem is, every time I have this idea, I have all these great ideas, and sometimes I'll put it together and then I just, yeah, man, whatever. And well, that happened previously. And I'm going to take a look at the book that I most recently wrote, and it's not that recent ago. Let's just see my Google Documents, I think it would be under. No, I didn't do a resume. Okay, what do I got here? I got Trading Cryptos, CTIMBOK03. This is August 27th, November. What did I write on November 25th? What did I write? First of all, this is the 25th one here. Why should I trade cryptos? Question mark. What is base currency? That's a good question. The basics of exchanges. Advantage gambling. Huge volatility in cryptos. And that's it. Okay, let's just. I thought that was the last thing I did, and that looks like what it is. What would this be? Maybe I tried it twice. That's exactly it. Maybe I tried it again, and I'm like, yeah, I just stopped it. I thought I. Let's see. The information I am presenting for making profits in small exchanges requires lots of work and lots of attention. Yeah, da da da. I really don't. Okay, so what is the secret? How does one make money this way? Bid ask spread differentials, capitalize on its tiny liquidity, pumps and dumps, fair prices can lag, great sell spots now occur. The biggest trader mistakes, the biggest trading profits for us. The easiest way to buy low and sell high is when you can do so instantly. The bid-ask spread differences allow you to do this on the smaller sites like Coin Exchange. For this book, I'll be referencing this site. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I guess you can pause it at different times, and I'll see too. Oh, this is interesting because back then I really wasn't doing much. November 25th, 2017. I barely would have got in this at this time. Yeah, I think I might have been in it now. Earlier this summer, this code was breaking out large from 1,500 Satoshi to over 3,000 Satoshi, and the next day it soared to over 8,000. It didn't take much time for the price. See, this is unedited. It didn't take much time for the price to go from the 4,000s to 7,000s, and I was looking at a large sell order of these for 5,000 of them. The only regret I have is that I didn't sell everything I could have and bought it all up. What? I did buy it all up. The only regret that I have is I didn't sell everything. Uh, now I'm trying to remember this day. This was a spot where I got into this coin at, well, around the 2000 and something. 2400, 26, I can't remember. Might have even been lower than that. 2000. That's irrelevant. But as it was breaking over 3,000, it literally went 3,000, 4,000, 6, 7, 8. So this probably would have been the last few trades of ever I would have made on this exchange because I didn't stay on there much longer after that day. But I ended up. I thought I bought everything I could have mathematically. Where there was someone selling a whole crap load at that price, and I could sell like at 7,000, 7,400. And what exchange would I have been selling on other than that? Cryptopia, Coin Exchange, one of them or both of them. But somewhere else I was able to sell them at the other one. So that's what I did. And then I moved coins back and forth and everything. So let's just read. I would use. Okay, so instead I bought these on the exchange, moved them to the bigger exchanges like Coin Exchange, Yobit, and or Cryptopia. Yeah, Yobit might have made sense. And I didn't trade much after that on Yobit either. I would use an accumulation tactic where I would sell the amount I bought in Bitcoin and then the remainder NLC took coins for free. So it basically worked out like you sell five or you buy 5,000, sell 3,000 ish, whatever. It worked out like that. After this was over, I noticed that the tightest spreads on the coins was on Cryptopia, and I would use these smaller exchanges to put insane buy and sell orders in. The price was 7,000 Satoshi. I would look to sell it at 7,500 and higher and buy it at 6,500 and lower. If this happened, I would fill the other side of the transaction immediately. Yada yada yada. Let's just get my notepad on. Actually, I can write on here. So why do I need notepad? Bitbean. I haven't traded that in forever. I remember that one. That was a spot. There was another story there. There was a Sunday evening where I was literally just buying like lots and lots and lots, and I didn't take the aggressive play to try to go for a quick transaction. But okay, what was it that I wanted to talk about that I wanted to write down? Yeah, this was a strategy. This was mainly what I did with XBY. So let's just assume that you had about a 50, say the price on exchange 1 had 1,520 and say as the ask and 1,500. And they just fluctuate up and down. And then on the small, and this was a big exchange, so you might see like 1521 here and say 1499, all that good stuff. But on the smaller exchange, it would be a lot different. Maybe you would have something like, and actually, what I'm saying here isn't what I. There's actually two things that I'm going to talk about this. One was with XBY, one was not. So let's just assume here they got something like this. So it's less tighter of a spread. Something like that. In a spot like this, just assume that you had these orders, the small ones. So therefore, the play would be okay. So if you have a buy order here at say 1444 and it hits, that means you could immediately sell it here for 15. And maybe you can work out the market book, and maybe it's even like this. It's even better. Maybe it's like 1516, and then this is like 1512, and you could just get the better price. And then, of course, if the 1580 hits, then you're selling here, so now you can buy it up here at 1520 and just make small moves. But what I would do on with XBY, this was very common and very profitable. There was two ways of getting your immediate profits when the trade's going through. But let's just assume again this was the price. Usually the spread differentials on the two exchanges wasn't quite as bad. Both of them had, I'm not going to say even volume, but it was relatively close. Let's just assume these were the orders in here. We have 15, 20, 15, 16, something like this. And what I would do is I'd be ready for the big buyers or the big sellers. And this happened frequently on the site. It was just crazy. And in a spot like this, I would have buy orders and sell orders on both of them and pretty much the same prices. Of course, I would look for the order book and see if there were any key numbers that were worth noting. And if so, I would play towards them. But I'd be looking to say, okay, here, I'm going to put a buy order in for, say, 1457 or 1461. And I'm going to put a sell order in here for, say, 1565. And then I'll adjust them throughout the day as markets go up and markets go down. And I'll do the exact same thing here. And oftentimes, so this back then might have been Yobit, and this back then was CSEX, and the code was XBY, and the time frame was the spring into the summer of 2017. And this was very common where on Yobit they would just, usually they would crash it down here more often. And so, say for example, and I'd even have some lot of different buy orders, and I'd even have some deeper ones. Like I'd have maybe one at 1450, I'd have another one at 1400, 1200, all that type of stuff. So then someone would just come in and hit this hard. So I'd have my 1450 hit, let's say, and a 1400 hit, and the market's looking just like this at the time. So the two ways of profiting instantly, well, practically, play number one is to sell it here. Let's just assume it was pretty bad here. It was like, say, even 1506, just so you can be tempted on play number two. So I would sell it down, but I might have to sell it down to 1495. Even maybe hit the 1488 number. And you know, a lot of times it's like, so be it, I'll do it. I end up buying like X amount here, and I'm selling zero point 0.9 something X on this. Maybe my Bitcoin numbers don't change, and I increase the amount of altcoin. In this case, it was XBY at the time. So that was pretty fun. And a lot of times, you might not have had that advantage. Sometimes it would go down, then you go over to CSEX, and then they'd sell it down there too as well. Not as often, but that came in as well. Now, not playing the instant arbitrage would work as well. This is the second strategy. So, say you had all the buy orders in, you bought at 1450, you bought at 1400. Well, now what you'd be looking to do is wait for the market prices to go up. So you just, okay, so I just bought, now you put a sell order in, maybe you put a sell order at 1500, and off you go. And then oftentimes it would just hit because it would come back to where it came from. But especially on the bigger moves though. So therefore, say your 1300 would hit instantly. It just goes down like this, 15, 16 to 1300. Then what you would notice is that, or back then what happened oftentimes in a spot like that, after it dropped well over 10%, is it would have a relatively quick move back. So it would go back, but not quite to 1495, maybe to 1444, 1400 even, 1420. And that would take maybe a minute to three. And it only took a minute, if not seconds, to crash it down. Therefore, within time, oftentimes it would even go further and back to where it came from as it was. And then you could just wait to place all your sell orders when that time approaches, because then you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe, and if we're talking about XBY in this price point, with these two exchanges, oh, it was going down. Because at this state, when it was 1500, it was near its 1700 highs at the time. But really, whether it was this or 600 or 800, it was all about getting the plays in at this stage as they would come available. And then if I was leaving for a while, I put more aggressive ones. I would eliminate like a 1450 buy. I'm eliminating that. My 1554 sell, I'm eliminating that. I'll put where I want to sell normally. I'm like, okay, well, I want to sell a bunch as it is, maybe at 1700. So I'm definitely going to sell aggressively there. Maybe I'd put a few sell orders in around 1640 or 1620. in the play there for those ones to just arbitrage instantly, hoping that it would come right back or I could get a play on the other side because you're hoping for one of those quick up and down or down and up movements depending on if you're talking about a buy or that of a sell order. Now, what was interesting about this, and it was definitely a learning experience, because one of the things I've already learned is if there's a coin you like that goes to a new exchange, an exchange you're definitely comfortable trading with, because this is when Cryptopia started. And upon this, what was the case was, well, it started for XBY. It was going on for a while. But I found out XBY was on this site, and a few days would go by, and I'm thinking, why am I not sending coins to this site? I'm already playing the two other sites in Yobit and C/CEX. So XBY, I open an account, I get the XBY address, and I deposit funds. Now I noticed an interesting thing to start as a new coin got developed on an exchange. As at this time, Yobit in the C/CEX was trading at an okay size volume. People didn't know so much about this, but I noticed sell orders were hitting. And I might have already got a paragraph in this already about this. But the sell orders were just hitting well. And this wasn't 1500 at the time. I'm guessing the price might have been like 6 to 700 on Yobit and CCX. But what was happening frequently was I would put orders in for like say 795 on Cryptopia, and it would hit. And I put a decent amount in, and I would instantly buy on whichever of the two sites would give me the best deals at that time. Now, what I need to do is, let's just assume that I had, say, 20,000 on Cryptopia. So then I'd sold, say, 4,000, I say 5,000 there at 796. So therefore, I was able to buy, say, 4,000, I don't know, 4,400, 300, whatever ish, at lower price. So that's done. Now, next thing I would do is like, heck, let's try for more. Because I have sell orders at like 900 and 1,400, so I'd have like 15,000 back. So I'd put another sell order and say 5,000 at 796-ish. Let's do it again. And then I'd even notice like 10 minutes later they take it. I'm like, holy crap. Okay, well, let's buy another 4,400. And then I would be like, let's do it. Let's put them all on. And then they would go. Oh, wow. So now what I would end up doing is I would be getting a lot of Bitcoin on Cryptopia. Maybe I needed to liquidate it, maybe I didn't, but let's just assume now I did not have to. And needing to have to or not is based on if what my other sites would have for Bitcoin at that time. So I send, let's just say 12,000 this time to Cryptopia, and I wait for the place to come in, and let's just assume I wasn't able to get it at this time, and maybe hours or a day goes by. And then you'd have an interesting situation. Let's just assume now that the price is 775 on Yobit and C. Well, funny to say those were the bigger exchanges at that time. And yet I noticed I'm now getting 900, 920 is now starting to go. I see. Let's just assume that I had a sell order hit at, say, and because the price was going up, I was selling at 800, but then it was going up like 740, 50, 60, so I'm not selling 800. So maybe I rose my sell order to, say, 890, let's just even go 899 sell order. I'm just going to put miss in this case. I don't know if this exact thing happened, but what I'm talking about at the end did, though. So let's just assume I missed it. Maybe I hit it, maybe I didn't. That's irrelevant in this case. But what I did notice was somebody bought, and let's just assume they bought it to 895. What happened was somebody underbid me at, say, 895. They've sold, say, they had a sell order was like 8,700 order, and they took that order. But what that person might have done was pushed. I want to buy 60,000 at this price or whatever big number. So now what happens is the order book on Cryptopia would have my order say maybe somebody else had 896 and I got 899, and I see that on the bids I have 895, and let's just assume I have 744 or something. And I see a big number there. So what I do, I cancel every single order that I have and I sell every single coin that I have. All 12,000. And then I buy at like 775. And in this case, uh, I would be buying more. So technically, I'd be buying like 12. If I said it the wrong way before, if I'm selling 12,000 here, I'd be buying like say 14,000 or so on the other exchanges. And let's just assume it was Yobit that I bought, and I got absolutely no Bitcoin and a whole crap of XBY on that site. I mean, I used to have, say, point whatever, like point 12, point 10, point 16. Now I'm at point 015 or something. I need Bitcoin there. I got a whole bunch of XBY. Okay, so on Yobit, let's just send, I don't know, we'd be like, what was it last time? 12. So let's just send 15,000. Now let's just assume here, this is an interesting part because now what's fun here is I wasn't able to take the whole bid. So now I'm going to be doing this fast. I mean, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is sending XBY to Cryptopia. So I do that, send like say 15,000. Aggressively, I probably should send whatever I can to fill the order. But I don't think that was the case. I think I was at the point where what I sent was more than enough. Where let's just say there was another 6,000 or something back or whatever it was. But it could. I've had other coins where I've seen that situation come up where they just put a whole load of amount in there. And now that I say this, I just thought of something with XBY that I want to talk about now. This was in a spot where let's just assume that on Yobit. I don't think I was on Yobit at this time, but I noticed that somebody bought the market up way too high, way too fast. So if it was like 400, 395, might have been a price like that. And then somebody wanted to. I think there was arbitrage or something or around that time. I don't remember. But somebody bought it up to like say 495 or 480 or 5 or something of that higher level. And they did that exact same thing I was talking about. They wanted to buy over a Bitcoin's worth of it. And I thought for a second there. So what ended up working out, so let's just assume that was the order book and it was like this before. So now what comes up, maybe it's something like this. And this was for like a Bitcoin. And I thought to myself, I probably should sell everything here. I probably should sell, and I got a lot to sell. But risk reward, I think this is very rewardy. And the risk is high, but the probability odds on the risk is extremely low. And just sell everything I got there because it's just going to recede back. And sure enough, the person deleted the order, but it took a good 20 minutes, 15, 10 minutes, more than adequate enough time for me to have made that play. It might have even been 5 minutes, but still it was more than adequate. And I ended up not doing it. Then this was gone, and well, obviously I could have bought it back much cheaper and could have made a good 20, 30%, 20, 25%. Back to where I was going on as far as what I was doing here. So at that point, I ended up taking that whole order, selling it on Cryptopia, sending more funds, and then I'd look at the Bitcoin that I'd have on Cryptopia. I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot. I'm thinking, well, how much do I need on there? Okay, I might as well send 0.14. And I thought, well, while I'm at it, I might as well send maybe a 0.12 to C forward slash CEX. And then just trade from there. That to me was just an interesting availability. So while we're at it, let's just talk about my XBY strategy right now. But before we do that, we have the exchanges. So after this point, Cryptopia, over the next few weeks and months, started to gain more supply. Thus, they became the main exchange, and the other ones pretty much died completely. There were other ones that came in. Coin Falcon was a fun story because I looked at it, I'm like, heck, why am I not doing that? It's an extremely small exchange. So I ended up depositing a bunch, and then within about, and at this point, the price action was about 1,400. This is after it fell from like 5,000. So after the fall. So it was 14 to 1,500. And what happened was I put my sell orders in like 1,900, 2,400, 32, 4,000, I think even 5,000. And boy, did they bought it up to like 5,000. Like in like 16 hours, even 8 hours after I put my sell orders in. I mean, how could the time? I mean, that was just perfect timing. And the interesting thing was a day or two before I did that, I'm like, man, this baby's going down. XBY. Let's just sell a whole bunch. Let's distribute a bunch. I don't need to have much. We'll see where we go from here. Let's just do another round of profit taking. So I sold a whole bunch. And then I transferred a whole bunch, and then I'm looking, geez, I don't own much. So after I got this, I was able to pull off an extremely high volume arbitrage. And I practically got for free what I sold. I was like, wow, that worked out well. That worked out perfect. Well, not well. I don't like to use the word perfect, especially when you can't unless you can define what mathematically perfect is. Like technically speaking, in baseball, if you can pitch 27 hitters and get them all out, that technically is a perfect game. But this is about trading. And a few other trades after that would work out here and there, but Coin Falcon after that would then hit the dust. I mean, they delisted XBY because of low volume. So now it's just back to Cryptopia, just trading normally. Markets are in play, and of course they did fall from this level. And then it fell to, it was 400 to 300 in that range. Days before January 14th security breach. Hours before the breach, 6 hours before, 8 hours before, I had my buy order fill. I bought the bottom. I bought 201. Maybe the bottom might have been 200, but for me that's the bottom. And then it went back to 280. Buy the breach. So that's where it closed Cryptopia. That's the last time it's traded. They were working very hard, they as in the XBY team, to get it on the other exchanges, as they were pointing out within this. It managed to go on Coin Exchange. And when I noticed it, I deposited Bitcoin. I bought 250. I bought aggressive at 200. And then I sold aggressive at 350 and 340 even and higher, especially at 380 and higher. And really there wasn't much higher. It was like 400. I decided to sell 100% of what I own. Okay, so who were the ones that were trading on Coin Exchange? Because everybody holding on Cryptopia could not do anything with their XBY. Any one of those people that want out or in with their Bitcoin that are there can't buy or sell there. So who are buying and selling on that site? Well, there's always going to be people that are going to bring coins over, people like myself, and I should have had them on hardware wallets, but and if I did, I would have transferred coins, but they're going to transfer coins just, and some of them, just to add supply to try to day trade and profit, buy low, sell high. So there's going to be that lot of people, and those people are needed for liquidity in the market as it is anyway. So people like me are great for that, and that's just my opinion. And I spelled aggressive wrong. I don't care. But though, who else are the ones, the big key ones that are really going to drive the market up or down? Well, the ones that are going to drive it up are the ones that want to get into XBY. And for a while they couldn't buy it because Cryptopia wasn't available. But now they find out that it is. At least they hear it's on Coin Exchange, and they now can get into it. Of course, only a small amount should, and was the case. And who's going to sell it aggressively? Those that want out of the coin. Especially because they're like, man, I'm glad I have my coins on the hardware wallet. And they sold it. So I think the person, I think that I really bought aggressively at that 200 handle. Because at that time, the ask price was 200 and the bid price might have been like 180, 190, and I'd even bought a few at 180 myself or whatever that low happened to be. I did buy in the high 100s, we'll call it, like 180, 190. But I didn't buy as much as I did on 200 because it worked out that that was the ask price. So I just thought, okay, let's buy what I can now. How am I going to get Bitcoin on here? I'm doing it this way and that way. I was into sports betting, and I'm like, well, why don't I just deposit Bitcoin from the sports betting site to here, and then buy XBY? That's what I did. Just stuff like that. And then as it was going lower, it's like, yeah, let's go out because I expect it's going to go much, much lower. I realized that the people that bought were just a few people trying to get in. Now, the original people wanting to the original people that wanted to get out, I mean, those people are gone. But now, here's an interesting aspect. A few days ago, Cryptopia announces that they're going to make it so you can cancel orders soon. And they said in the next few days, not tomorrow. And they didn't have any stuff like we're updating. We're going to, like before they were saying we're updating later in the day. They've been really honest, or they've been really prompt with their time frames. But the problem is, few days is up for speculation because there's today, there's tomorrow, there's couple. Couple means two or three. Few days usually means at least three. So the fact that they've been idle for those 3 days kind of works within what they're saying. But to me, I think they're just going in the process. I trust that this is going to work out. I'm hoping I don't get a haircut, but if that's the case, then what else can I do? But throwing that part aside, I could easily get the haircut value back, this strategy. So therefore, people are going to be concerned now. So what I'm hoping is people with hardware wallets are seeing this now and they're like, geez, Cryptopia's not bringing it back up. Oh man, their site's going down. I'm just going to sell what I got now. It's over. This coin's done. And they sell down on Coin Exchange because I sold 100% of everything on there. And thus I got buy orders in. And my highest buy order is 200 Satoshi. I got 200 all the way down to double digits. And really every 5-10% it's lower. Like 200, 190, 180, 172, 165, 153. It's everywhere. I probably got about 16 to 25 different buy orders in. And I'm going to do a lot better considering my last sold. I sold at two different prices at the end. What I did was I noticed before when I was selling that the ask price was around 400, but the bid prices, there was a few decent amount of people that had good bids in at like 350 and like 348. It was an okay amount. But then when I noticed that there was someone put in like a 352, 353 for a decent amount, I'm like, well, geez, it looks like there's people that really want to get it and buy. So I put 100% of what I owned at 390. And that person who put in the higher buy order, and it had to have been, bought my order, because what I noticed was a good portion of it, like 60%, 65, 70% of it was filled, and this level was gone. And then I noticed some of these were starting to trickle down because I still had 390 in, still trying to get. No one was taking it, but also no one was underbidding me. No one was coming in at 388 or 389, so this was lovely. And therefore, I waited and waited. But then I seen that the amount of liquidity available at these prices here was only about double what I owned. So I thought, you know what, let's just sell it down here and I'll be done with it. And then what I did was I removed a couple of my orders. I removed the 250 buy order, got deleted. Because I was thinking I don't want to. I don't want to buy until like 200. Now no one owned 200 something. Okay, I'm just gonna take the 200 and buy lower. Now it hasn't went lower than 270 right now, but it has been progressing lower a little bit. I'm noticing more people adding to the sell orders, showing me people are aggressively looking. Okay, it's maybe a good people in the sell mode, so that can often tell me that there could be a decent amount of selling coming soon. But that's just to me whatever bonus if this happens now. Because my view is Cryptopia comes back. Stage 1 order removal. And I will remove every single order that I have. I will be keeping XBY, some of them on the site. Therefore, on Cryptopia, I'm going to have to put my buy orders in. Same thing, I'm not buying for 200 and 200's the highest that I'll go. My last trade on Cryptopia was a sell, actually, selling at like 260, 270, 250. I bought because it started to go up from the 200 number. But at this time frame, I'm expecting people to sell large. So therefore, XBY should break well below 200 on open. And then when we're talking about this, open arbitrage again. Now I'm going to have two sites that's going to be trading this. Hopefully Coin Exchange might have they might actually outdo Cryptopia. There's going to be an okay amount of people that will move their funds from there to there because, well, that exchange they had to go. Well, what's going to be at least 2 months now of doing it. So I guess stage 2 in here is market reopens. Okay, yada yada, that's normal. So therefore, if it's going to be sold down, then I'm just going to be right now looking to get accumulation. Because the only place I'm going to be able to sell will be on Cryptopia. I don't know how long it will take for the wallets to reopen on different coins. Some may take longer than others. Don't be surprised if the site goes up and there's going to be delays with some wallets. I don't know. Maybe the delay is to ensure all their wallets will be, or as many as possible, will be working as functional as they can when things end up moving forward. But withdraw from here to Coin Exchange, and then I'll have some liquidity to trade on there. And then, of course, inquire about putting these in hardware wallets as I move on in the future. So therefore, moving on, that means I can pretty much do the same sort of thing as I was doing before. Having coins on Cryptopia, having coins on Coin Exchange, And what would make it very interesting is if a prediction of mine, which doesn't matter if it's true or not, happens to come true. And that is for a while, neither Coin Exchange or Cryptopia will have much higher volume than the other, which was basically the way it was with Yobit and C forward slash CEX in like May of 2017, May and June of 2017. And in that can make some interesting arbitrage plays available because you don't really have a major base market. And what I mean by that is when you have a majorly large exchange and a small exchange, that means you're trying to pick away and buy really low on the small exchange and sell really high on there, and then just buy it back on the big one. So if something like Binance or Bittrex gets this coin, that will be exactly in play because they are totally going to own control of the trading there. But until that happens, it's going to be amongst these two. So there's going to be a lot of situations where you're just going to be, like I talked about with the Yobit and the other one, where say it's, because I think the dip lower is just going to be a short term one. It's going to go back up after that. So let's just assume that happens. It's back to, say, 350. Say on Coin Exchange, it's 360, 344. And then on the one exchange, it's, say, something like that. And if, say, this one just, there's a big buyers that come in, what you might happen and see in the live market is if buyers come in, say, in here, on this exchange, you'll see this go to 368, 372, 375, 377. It just goes crazy. And then what happens is these orders will start to go up. And if these people aren't trading on both exchanges, hopefully they don't for this strategy, then these ones aren't going to really change much. So this goes up to, say, 388. Maybe you have a sell order fill, so you can buy a little bit at 369. And then it just keeps on going higher, so your next sell order, say, at 416 hits. But what you notice when 416 hits is that you got 411 here. And in the meantime, it's been, say, maybe 4 minutes or something. This says a lot. Some other people are doing what I'm doing, and other people are buying because there's buying reasons for whatever. But it's still not quite up to par to the other exchange. Maybe this is at 377 now. So now what you can have happen, and this is sell everything here at 411, at least based on how much of it, and then buy what you can at 377. And then it can work in so many different ways. Because going back to the original bids, if it happens to go down from here, this goes to 320, 310. Okay, now I'm going to buy here and sell 355. And then if it's this exciting, this exchange that gets exciting, it goes to 380, 390, 400. Sell here and buy at 360. And if this gets tanked, well, obviously, buy here and sell the 344. Because if you're going to be able to buy this at 310 here and sell at 344, well, buy 1,000, sell 900 and something. That's not many more than 900 on something, like 910 or something. Great profit. Well, I didn't think I was going to do a 40-minute, like, just rant, lecture, not whatever. Just talking about different things. What else did I write here? Komodo. Oh, that one was fun. That one was fun. Komodo worked really well as people kept buying over and over and over again when I had sell orders at what was 20 plus higher than my buyback on Bittrex. It was getting to the point where I would sell 40 and then buy 55 back. Sell 55, buy 68 back. Sell 68, buy 80 back. And that number kept on going and going and going to over 300. It literally was fun. I played that game over and over again because people kept on buying my extremely high prices on coin exchange, and I would just have to buy it back on Bittrex. It's almost like they were my wholesaler. It really felt that way. It was fun. There were so many strategic levels, and this was near the all-time highs on against Bitcoin. It worked out that I was like, people were like asking to like buy at like 80,000 Satoshi. They put orders in to buy it at 80,000 Satoshi when I was able to buy it at 60 and 58. It was like sick. Actually, I got, yeah, right here it might have been. But anyway, there were a few days where at 2 p.m. I get a sell order, and then at 2:02 I would buy on Bittrex, and 2:03 I would transfer to Coin Exchange, and 2:30 I would place a sell order, and maybe 3:20 someone would buy from me again. That was becoming common. But there could be times that led to huge mistakes by traders who buy more than is available. Assuming I had a sell order, and I probably think I've already talked about this already. Sell order for 100 tokens at 75,000 Satoshi, and it's selling for 58,000 on Bittrex. Let's assume the person who wanted to buy asked to buy 892 tokens, and there would be a buy order on the site for such. So that was a situation where they bought 892, so 792 would be available to me. And it was interesting when I would see this and I'm like, okay, I would send my tokens as fast as I could from Bittrex to the other one. I would send them, go quickly as I could to my email, confirm button, push it as fast as I can, and I literally had my wallet addresses memorized. So I mean, I looked at it and I knew it was the right address just by looking at it because it was pretty much memorized. I kind of have my Komodo one memorized for Bittrex still. But then I'd be looking at it, refreshing the screen. Okay, come on, give me confirmations. Come on, hurry up, hoping that this would stay. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes they'd chip away at it. Okay, and then, so say I would send over, say, 140, and, well, that's a lot how it worked, basically. So I'm going to write this down on how it worked out, because that was a big, interesting part of it. So let's just assume I was at 50 coins. So I had 50 coins sold. Now what's happening is I'm buying back, say, 72. That's the differential. It was that sick of a differential. 72 coins bought for same price. I'm transferring every single one of these coins that I just bought. I don't have any more left on Bittrex. Every single one over there. And that would take like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So 72 coins sold on Coin Exchange, and then maybe like 100 bought, or 94 or something. I don't know, 96 bought. 96 transfer, and then 96 sold, and then maybe 119 bought. And maybe that would be the end of my luck. That was the end of that particular run for that particular time. I'd have to wait maybe many hours or many days, or a couple or 3 days. It wasn't usually more than that, at least during this time. I think 2 or 3 would have been a long time without a trade doing this strategy. So therefore, what I was thinking, this is the aggressive play. Why did I buy 72? Why did I buy 72 coins when I knew somebody wanted to buy hundreds of them at a much higher inflated price? Because that's pretty much what it was like. It was something in the area of like, let's just say on Coin Exchange, so maybe 87,200, and then 87,000 in here, meaning this person is looking to buy at 87,000, and there's a seller, and who knows, maybe the seller was 88,000 or 95,000. Either way, that's not important. The important thing is there was a bid for 87,000, where on Bittrex, maybe it might have been something like this: 64,125 and 64,088. The aggressive play is to buy everything you can to fulfill this order here, on here. Every bit of it, even more than you were planning on risking, and that would have been the case on that coin. Buy it, transfer it. Here's your risk. By the time you buy it and you send it to the other exchange, and you're talking about close to an hour, or at least a half hour, 45 minutes, at least a half an hour minimum. 40, 45 minutes reasonable time, at least with that coin. I think that was the normal amount of allocated time it took for confirmations to fulfill. So therefore, by that time, maybe this person cancels the order, and this is back to 60,251. And you're not selling at that, and it's looking like this when you get there. That can happen, and it did. Or maybe somebody else took it. They see it. Maybe they did the exact same thing you did, and maybe they didn't have to because they already had their Komodo on the site as it was. So like, oh, definitely, someone wants to buy this at 87,111. We'll say, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then I was on confirmation maybe 14 of 20 at that time. No soup for me, as they say. At least that was a Seinfeld series, and one of my favorite episodes. As long as that yada 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 one is one as well. Okay, so then the risk, you don't get it. It goes down. So what do you do now? Well, you could try to sell on this exchange, but if the market goes down, you're going to lose. What you could do, because transfer fees are so cheap, is just send it back to Bittrex. You can sell it on the market. Small gain, small loss, whatever it may be. When that's your risk, is just minuscule gain, break even, or loss. You know what? That's really not that bad of a risk. And that's just some of my stories. 52 minutes, wow. Let's just end this video now. Wow, I wasn't planning on doing this. No. I was planning on talking about, I've been thinking about just trying to find creative ways of talking about just a whole bunch of different topics, like 50, 60, 80, 100 pages, including like a workbook. Because I'm not an accountant, but as far as my school stuff, man, when I went to school in, well, let's just, accounting, grade 10. I took it. It was easy. This was sick. This was like totally sick. Grade, was it 11 accounting? Maybe I took. I did take. In grade 12 accounting, I mean, we really went back to the start again. This was totally repetitive in my life. Oh, what's a trial balance? Really? Seriously? No, come on. I took that in grade 10. I mean, literally, it looked out like grade 12. The first 2 months was like, everything was new, and everything, or wasn't new, right? Everything was old. Nothing was new. A few things got talked about, added on, a little more advanced stuff on some of the stuff we talked about in grade 10 and 11. Grade 13, that was awesome. That was fun. It was more advanced. It actually talked about stock markets a little bit. So that was pretty cool. But even then, they didn't focus too much on the trading aspect. They were talking about like the whole dividends and the preferred shares and unlimited liability, what companies do when they go robust, when they break down, when they actually have booming cycles, what they do, a whole bunch of different fun stuff. They don't have grade 13 in high school anymore. And I did grade 13 as a loophole. I only did this to get money. That's the only reason I took grade 13. Because as it worked out, I had a factory job where as long as the following properties had to be there. I had to have a high school diploma, which I technically did after grade 12, and going to school the next year. Well, I'm going to grade 13 the next year, so I want in, was what I thought. So I did my grade 12, finished in high school ends at the end of June, so I worked July and August. And then I go to school in September. I try to get as much weekends as I can now and then. After all, it paid really good, and I have to try to get funds for college. I'm not taking a loan, and I didn't. Back then, getting a loan wasn't a cool thing to do. Fortunately, not unfortunately, but this was really the end years for cheap. Well, not cheap school, but not totally expensive. So grade 13, I only did one semester. I took 3 classes out of 4 I wanted to spare. Back and that's how it worked in Canada. You got 4 classes. School ends at the end of January, so I'm calling the factory at February. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. But they didn't hire me until they hired all the other college students at the end of April. So I work April, May, June. Well, end of April, May, June, July, August. Off to Toronto, off to school, and then college year 1, accounting. But that college didn't work out, and it was a learning experience, and I got way too drunk that year. I barely passed, which means I failed. So college year 1, take 2, took accounting 2 times, semester 1, semester 2. Unfortunately, I had to get out of that college, go to another, so I did one of those quick classes where you do uh, 8 courses in 6 months or 9 courses in 6 months. Every single one of these, year 1 here, year 1, doing this all over again. So when I did this one, I mean, it was a joke. The first one, I literally got 100%. Literally. My average on the whole thing was like 93, 94, 95. And that was that. But at this time, I'm literally just making up time and space to fill this up to 1 hour. Because I could just end the tape now, and I really don't know what much to talk about, but it's basically how it was. So one of the things I want to do on this with making workbooks, if I do it, is situations like transactions and like do an accounting basis of it. Not really accounting basis, but accounting basis for a trade. You buy XXX at this level. So like say we got like 0411 prices 3600. 0417 30. No, let's just do bigger volatility. 4211 0418 3611. Just something like this. And then what I would do is say something like that, where you have different ledgers of buy and sell, where you would fill in how many you would buy, how much they're worth, just for like educational purposes, just so you really understand and are familiar with the whole purposes of the numbers game, understanding percentage gains, just understanding the mathematics towards the system, I think would work out. And if no one wanted to use it, they would just not use it, of course. It's like so cool. So I don't know if this is something I want to do, but it's really something to do more than anything. 1 minute to play in this video. I'm a hockey fan. So that's why I said that. Oh, interesting game tonight in the NHL. Oh my goodness. Those who laid a goal and a half on the Toronto Maple Leafs, I feel your pain. Maple Leafs led 3-0 with like 2 minutes to play. Edmonton scores to make it 3-1. So if you're laying a goal and a half on Toronto, who cares? I mean, you're going to win by 2. Oh, nope. Edmonton scores with like 40 seconds left. And then oh my goodness, what a save by Frederick Anderson with like 25 seconds left, and then they were just doing a few more pressuring. Final score 3-2 for Toronto against the Edmonton Oilers on March the 9th, 2019. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.